Oh, yeah. All right. So I'll start. My name is Joy Mayo. I'm Tree Charlotte's Community Engagement Manager. Excited to talk with you today about our Treesilience initiative, really focusing on our mature canopy care workshop today. So thanks so much for joining us to learn more about this exciting opportunity for residents of the Ramblewood and McCrory Heights neighborhoods. So Cameron is actually going to start, and then I'll talk a little later.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Cameron, Tree Charlotte Community Coordinator. I'm doing a lot of work here to help out with this new initiative for Treesilience. It's great to see everybody. Hope y'all having a happy Monday. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So before get into Treesilience, just want to speak a little bit about Tree Charlotte as an organization. And just our first goal, that's read here, Tree Charlotte, proud to bring our Treesilience program to neighborhoods of Ramblewood and McCrory Heights. So Treesilience, a holistic tree care initiative aimed at protecting and enhancing the canopy in Charlotte's under-canopied and underserved neighborhoods. And then through the generosity of corporate sponsors, residents of Ramblewood and McCrory Heights may participate in Treesilience at no cost. So everyone here, I know we're Ramblewood and McCrory Heights participants. Glad to have you guys here joining us today.
Glad to be here.
And just to give a little background of our Tree Charlotte team, here's a few of our members. Jane Myers is our executive director. Heike is our business director. Kristen, I believe, is on the call. She's our director of programs. Beth Brody is our development manager, and Amber Forrester does development and marketing for us. And then leads into the programs team, typically guys that you see out and about. Christian Battistini is our events and volunteer manager. Heather Brent, who's on the call here, our community educator and arborist. Joy Mayo does community engagement, is our community engagement manager. The very handsome brother to the left side of the screen, Cameron, our community engagement coordinator. And we have Frank Cerudis, who works for the city of Charlotte, who's also a forester and arborist, and he helps out with us a lot as well. All right, so before we begin, trees matters because we did want to see if we get any feedback, but I think you're going kind of quick for me. Sure. All right, there we go. All right, trees matter because so if anybody have any reason why they think trees matter, we want to get a few opinions, a few thoughts on why, people here think that trees matter to us and why they're important that we are planting.
I could talk about it all day long. I could tell you all kinds of reasons why trees matter, but I think you're wanting somebody else to say something, right?
Right. Or you can start us off if you want to.
Okay, sure. Well, I like to breathe, so trees cleaner air. That's one of the reasons.
Right.
I just think they're very beautiful. Growing up in a place that had a lot of trees, you begin to appreciate the beauty of them. It cuts down on your air conditioning costs too.
Right.
How about that? And it just makes things, when you see those trees, to me, it's a beauty element.
Yeah,
Right.
I was going to say I enjoy the air conditioning in the shade for sure.
Yes, me too.
Right, right. So when we think about our neighborhoods and we think about our communities, like you just said, Miss Ruth, we want them to be pretty. We want them to be gorgeous. What trees add to just that landscape is just that beautification aspect, right? That's a major piece.
Yeah, it is. And when you're walking out in the neighborhood in the way that we do here in McCrory Heights, it just makes the walk enjoyable.
Right.
It's shady. People are usually outside in this neighborhood, often outside walking, and it just has an added element to the quality of the environment when you're walking in it.
Right, right. And you think about the physical and that mental benefit that you get as well. When you're outside, you feel good, you got the fresh breath in you, you step outside, got a big smile on your face, and the trees are helping out with that, right? I always have a big smile on my face, but the trees add to it. So yeah, to speak just even more so on the trees as well, I think I'm gonna get a little bit of help from Heather. This one I asked
Sure.
I think we maybe going back.
You talk on that slide here, Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Heather, this would be a great one
Great.
for you to.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we've all mentioned, trees provide a lot of benefits to us. So this slide just captures some of the reasons. So I mentioned how trees clean the air, and they do so much that it actually helps us with reduce, which can actually improve our overall health as well. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that air pollution is a real killer. It's not just that it doesn't look good or smell good. It actually is detrimental to our health. So trees really do help clean our air so that if you can reduce the air pollution in an area, you will find that there is lower asthma rates, reduced heart disease even, and strokes just from having cleaner air and less air pollution. And as Cameron alluded to, it makes us feel better. So we know as well that it's not just our health from breathing, but also even our mental health. And this slide doesn't show it, but I have some slides that talk about it is proven what we all know, and that is that when you go outside and take a walk, it lowers your blood pressure, it reduces your stress and improves your mood. It truly helps your mental health to go outside and be among green things, especially trees. And even more tangible than that is the heat reduction. So we all know this from living in a hot city, that it cools us down. And I don't know about you, but if on a summer day, I want to go outside and stand in the shade versus standing in a yard where it's just baking in the sun. So trees can reduce the air temperature by as much as 20 degrees in the shade versus in the hot sun. And that's just the air temperature. The surface temperature can be even 40 degrees hotter when it's baking in the sun than when it's in a shaded, cool area. So they can do a lot for us. And that's just the human health. There's also wildlife, there's the environment, there's reduced stormwater cost, stormwater mitigation, there's the energy reduction from having the air conditioning, so many things that trees do. Like I said, I could make an entire slide presentation just on
No worries. Well, we'll talk some about some of that as well. So thanks, Heather. So I'm just gonna pause and share why are we in Ramblewood and McCrory Heights? So we do want to kind of highlight that, and Cameron is going to tell us a little bit more reasons about why we chose these two neighborhoods. So as a reminder, Treesilience is a pilot program. We are piloting in Ramblewood and McCrory Heights. So we really appreciate y'all's patience with us through this process. This is very new to us, being very neighborhood focused instead of one-off plantings here and there. So, part of Treesilience is a 3-year commitment to the Ramblewood and McCrory Heights neighborhood. I'm sure y'all see me monthly kind of walking around or coming to your meetings. And that's really just Tree Charlotte's commitment to making tree equity accessible to everyone. So Cameron's going to talk a little bit more about why we chose Ramblewood and McCrory Heights. And then later on, we'll talk about what are some of the things you're seeing with Treesilience. So reason today's session is a little different than our fall one is we didn't have any data to talk about. Our last session was in August and we didn't really have anything to report out. So we did want to take this time to really talk about some of the great benefits that you hopefully are already seeing in your neighborhoods as a result of Tree Charlotte being in McCrory Heights and Ramblewood.
Right. So, like Joyce said, Treesilience, this is like a holistic approach that we're taking into these neighborhoods. We do have a lot of different initiatives that are there. Ramblewood and McCrory Heights are both great historical neighborhoods that are here in Charlotte, filled with great and wonderful people. But when we look into the tree equity that is in Bramblehood and McCrory Heights, once we start off, we do want to hit neighborhoods that are under canopy and that are under canopy first. So when we speak of something that's under canopy, is if you look from like an aerial view, if you're looking down, it's the percentage of canopy and trees that you will see from that aerial view. So under canopy for us is under 40% of that area. As we can see for Bramblewood, we're at 36.8% of canopy coverage. And McCrory Heights, 35% of canopy coverage as well. And then once we look at the median annual income for both places, Bramblewood, we're at 36,000. And then McCrory Heights, we're at 27,000, when the county average is 68,000 overall. So they could be, qualified for under canopy and under income areas as well. So what we're doing is we're taking this approach, taking this step to see what we can do to implement different initiatives and different programs to able to increase the canopy coverage there for these specific communities. Additionally, we speak about the placement of Bramblewood and McCrory Heights, and we know that certain placements of different neighborhoods can cause disadvantages to them. Both Bramblewood and McCrory Heights are near highways and industrial complexes as well. We see how fast Charlotte is expanding and growing. So we want to do our best to preserve and continue to grow the tree canopy that's here in Charlotte. Yeah, so what we did in both of the neighborhoods that we did, like Joy said, I'm sorry, Joy, is this me or is it?
It's okay. You can talk about this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start it off and I'll go to Joy afterwards.
All right.
So we conducted tree mapping in each of the neighborhoods. So tree mapping helped us capture the amount of trees that we have in the neighborhoods, the amount of heritage trees, and the different species of trees that we see. I know everybody loves to see the real pretty crepe myrtles, which are a ton of them in McCrory Heights, the silver maple, which is a lot of those are in Bramblewood. And using this data helped us get more specific about just the equity of both of the neighborhoods and where we can build off of. And I'll let Joy take the rest of it.
Yeah. So from the graphics, you can see how many trees we mapped. As Cameron noted, McCrory Heights has a very robust tree canopy. Part of that is the city did plant some street trees, which is why you'll have so many crepe myrtles at 37%. Most of the street trees in McCrory Heights are crepe myrtles that were planted by the city. I believe I was told about 5 years ago. So really excited to see, as a new canopy study data comes out, what is the tree canopy currently in McCrory Heights as a result of that investment from the city. So, we did map quite a few houses. We only did the front yards. And if someone was on a corner lot, we kind of, scooted in and maybe did a little mapping over there as well. But it was really helpful, I think, doing the tree mapping so that we can be very intentional when we're doing our tree plantings. We don't want to give communities too much of the trees they already have, like crepe myrtles or silver maples. We don't want to have only one type of tree species in a neighborhood. We want to make sure that it's diverse. Heather could definitely talk more about why the reasonings are for that. But I mean, it's just like, if anything, we want to make sure that the trees are being healthy. Are y'all able to see my screen? William says he's not able to see it.
It's on the the tree mapping screen.
Okay.
I can see it, surely.
Okay. I'm not sure, William. I think it's showing now, but I can always share the presentation with you as well. If that's helpful.
That's quite all right. I heard you all refer to that a couple of times, and I was wondering what was going on, but I can just listen and be perfectly happy.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely send the presentation out as well. We're also recording it. So, we definitely want everyone to feel super involved. It's great, I think, just to know kind of what's going on. But I think what we learned from the tree mapping is about the types of trees and sizes of the trees in the neighborhood, and also the eco benefits of those trees. So we did
Really
send out a state of the canopy, which you'll find on the website for Treesilience. If you want to kind of dive deep into that data, you can learn more about the tree species, what are the benefits of those, like Heather was talking of. Oh wait, Heather, you're unmuted. Would you like to add? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say was, I know we compiled a report for that, so maybe, if you would like to see the graphs and charts, we compiled a report of that in the State of Your Canopy report. So that is available to you. Either you could, download it, look at it electronically, and we would have some printed out copies of it. So we can get that to you.
Are the colors in here, and do you have a guide in terms to the colors? Are the green the houses, or what do the colors represent in this slide?
Different types of trees, actually. Those are different tree species.
Oh, okay, so the green must be the crepe myrtles.
It's probably the green is probably the crepe myrtles there in McCrory Heights. I'm not positive from looking at
The reason why I know is they're right down that Patton Avenue street.
Yeah, it's probably those are probably crepe myrtles.
Mm-hmm. Just, I thought that I wanted to just clarify.
No, that was a great question. And thank y'all for being interactive with us. I'm always a big fan of not just kind of sitting and getting. I used to be a teacher prior to working with Tree Charlotte, and I love that engagement. I always tell my students I don't like talking more than like 10, 15 minutes. I really would like to and kind of interact and hear other people's opinion. So thank you, Ms. Ruth. I thought that was a really great question. Yeah, and if you haven't seen the report, Cameron, do you mind putting that in the chat? So if you put the Treesilience application website, people can scroll all the way down, and then it has the report for the state of the canopy for McCrory Heights and Ramblewood that people can see as a PDF.
Okay, definitely.
Thank you. All right, so let's look at the different components of Treesilience, which you've already kind of seen some of that. So we have already done our tree plantings in both neighborhoods. I want to say we did one in October and one in November. So we had tree days where we had some opportunities for the community to fellowship through educational activities. You can see one at the bottom. One of our volunteers was working with a member of a young person in McCrory Heights doing some pine cone bird feeders. But we thought it was just a great way to really work with people in the community, plant trees. We're very intentional with our tree plantings. Heather does a great job of really helping us with right tree, right place. We met with every homeowner who, wanted a tree. We created a planting plan for them, and Heather provided guidance about what tree was best based on their lot size, based on their preferences. So if you have not participated in our tree planting, we hope you will. I'm sorry, did someone want to ask? Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Star 6?
Pardon? Yeah, we did start at 6.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm 84 years old and I can't do any Zoom stuff, so I'm listening on my phone. Ruby Evans.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you, Miss Ruby. Yeah, no, we totally understand, and we can we're recording this session as well, so you can if you wanted to watch it on our YouTube channel, definitely would welcome that. Or we can talk with you, individually as well. Either work. So we also offer, thank you. We also offer tree care, which is part of what we're doing for our workshop today for mature canopy care. But we also came out in both neighborhoods and provided mulch and some light ivy mitigation. So that was part of the application that you filled out. If you, would like us to help with any ivy in your yard that is climbing up a tree, please let Cameron or myself know, and we'll definitely put you down for our next tree care, because ivy can be detrimental to trees. And with Tree Charlotte, we not only want to expand the tree canopy by planting more trees, but we also want to preserve our tree canopy as well. And we really, would like to work with people, particularly when it comes to that ivy. And the
well, I came and nobody.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I came to the first one that in Pineville, no one was there. But the lady came by here and she told me that the Boystons would come by and check my trees in the back and they would plant one. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm listening to the meeting. So I'll probably contact someone later on.
Yeah, you can talk with myself or Cameron.
Okay.
Thank you. So we
Uh-huh.
also including tree education, and with tree education, we are doing neighborhood tree walks or tree walks of different communities in Charlotte, our neighborhood tree mapping, and our consultation services for our certified arborists. So you have an opportunity to hear from Heather and Mark Livingston from ArborGuard, who's joining us today. They are the tree experts. Cameron and I, you know, we're learning stuff, but we're definitely not on their level yet. And we're excited to meet with you all and tell you about the health of your tree, and potentially give some recommendations. But overall, we have found that the trees in McCrory Heights particularly have been very healthy. We've only had to do very minimal work. So fingers crossed, we continue on that kind of vein or whatever the term is. All right, let's continue. So let's talk about, when we talk about mature canopy care, what are the actual requirements? So the big one is for qualifying residents. So you have to be a member of McCrory Heights or Ramboa neighborhood, because those are the only two neighborhoods where we're currently doing this work. They need to have hazardous mature trees or limbs, and they may receive support if funding is available. So some of those eligibility requirements include owning and living in your home. We really want to be intentional that our most vulnerable citizens and residents in Charlotte are receiving this support. So we don't necessarily want landlords to take advantage of the free work. We will come out and do an assessment for anybody because we want everyone to know how their tree is doing, but only people who own or live in their home are actually receiving financial support, and that Tree Charlotte is going to pay for their work. The total gross combined income for all residents of your home, including any rental revenue, must be less than 80% of the area median income, AMI. And we'll talk more about that, but I know Cameron has done a great job of already explaining that to residents kind of during the process, and that was part of the mailers and the application. Having a tree on their property that's threatening their safety, attending the mature canopy care workshop, which you all are doing now, so you're already one step closer to getting some free work done, and agree that any trees removed from their property will be replaced with new trees before mature canopy care work begins. So I do want to stress that last one, that if any trees are removed, if Heather and Mark deem that the tree is hazardous or dead and it needs to be removed, that we will work with you to determine what tree needs to go on your property. As we discussed earlier, you know, Tree Charlotte's mission and goal is really to expand and preserve the tree canopy, and that's taking down trees isn't really part of our mission, but we'll do it if it's hazardous or disease. But we would need to plant another tree. And since Treesilience is 3 years, a 3-year initiative, you know, we'll be back in the fall. We're working on setting those dates, and Heather will work with you to determine the best type of tree if that's necessary. All right, so I'm just showing briefly the AMI requirements. This was on the application. It was also on our website, and it was also on the mailers that we sent out when we canvassed the neighborhood. So I think people have probably seen this quite a few times, and we appreciate your patience. If you have any specific requirements or questions about this, Cameron or myself can also answer those offline, just to, you know, be respectful of everyone's privacy. So with the AMI, it's based on the number of people in your household, and then based on, you know, how much combined income you all make as a group. In order to qualify for free work with Tree Charlotte, you need to be below 80% AMI based on how many people are in your household. So even if it's one below, you would qualify, and we can still proceed with that. But definitely feel free to reach out to myself or Cameron if you have any questions or concerns. I know everyone has Cameron's number because he's calling and texting you all. But my number as well is on the flyers and the postcards. All right, here are the people you really need to know and care about. So Mark Livingston, as we mentioned, is from ArborGuard. He's a senior consulting arborist, ISA board certified master arborist, SO 2666B. I hope I said enough. And ISA qualified tree risk assessor, CTSP. Mark, would you like to say a couple words?
Yeah, I'm happy to be the arborist for Tree Charlotte. I've been doing this 23 years, and I do a lot of seen a lot of trees, seen a lot of yards, and know kind of what they need. You know, I think a lot of these areas haven't had any care. You know, some of these trees you can overdo it. There's a lot of things that you know, people ask for when we get on properties, and sometimes it's not the best thing for the overall health of the tree. It's not the best thing for overall longevity. Even though you may have seen it done in the neighbor's yard or other neighborhoods, and people, you know, are commonly doing it, such as topping crepe myrtles, which I was happy to see that the neighborhood was very crepe myrtle heavy. We will not be topping crepe myrtles in that neighborhood. We're going to try to keep them as natural and as healthy. And a lot of times that means doing a little bit and not a lot. And so risk and hazard trees or anything that's going to be dangerous to your property or your structures or you, we want to make sure we identify, and that's kind of that's really the goal, is to identify anything that can be hazardous and anything that we can reduce liability and reduce the risk that it poses to you. So I mean, that's all I have. But you know, anytime there's any questions and we come by and look at your trees, feel free to ask. That's what I'm involved with Tree Charlotte for in this Treesilience program. Don't hesitate to ask, and we'll try to explain everything to you and why we're doing it and what we're doing and what the condition of your trees are. So please use this as a resource. Thank you.
I'm Heather. So I'm the other end of this. I'm the arborist for Tree Charlotte. I do not have quite that experience that Mark has. He is truly the expert. And if there's anything regarding, you know, the safety, the health of the tree, he's really the best one to call for that. I would help on the other end, which is, you know, helping you decide what it would be the new trees to put in your yard. So any replacement trees, if something has to come down, or just helping you decide what trees in general you would like to put in your yard. I'm there for that. And I can also help assess the trees, but I won't be involved with any removal or heavy, serious pruning. But again, I'd like to stress that, you know, we're doing this for the health of the tree and not just trying to take down trees for the sake of taking down trees. But Mark is super experienced with that. And I'm happy to help however I can.
Thanks, Heather. So yeah, I hope that we'll get to the next slide that'll talk about the timeline and how things will progress and next steps. But I know I really enjoyed kind of walking around with Mark and Heather. I learned a lot about trees that I didn't know. Oftentimes we really talk about more like planting trees, but learning about the health of the tree with Mark and Heather was super helpful. And I'm excited that you all will have the opportunity for some one-on-one conversations with both of them, because a lot of common misconceptions that people have, including myself prior to some of those meetings, is really helpful. And I always remind people, you don't know what you don't know. And just really, we're really grateful to have Mark and Heather on our team to really provide that insight and that experience and knowledge, and bringing that to Ramblewood and McCrory Heights residents. All right, this is what y'all really want to hear about. The consultation, when can you sign up? When can you start working with us? So you will probably receive an email probably by end of day Wednesday from Cameron, maybe sooner, about signing up for your consultation. So you'll have Mark, Heather, myself, and Cameron. You'll have a whole team of Tree Charlotte people out working with you so that you can learn about the health of your tree. So the first step is Cameron is going to send an email. It's going to have a link with a Sign Up Genius. Feel free to sign up for the Sign Up Genius. Sorry. Feel free to sign up for the Sign Up Genius via, the link. Cameron will be calling and contacting you if people are having any technological issues. He can help sign people up as well. So definitely understand. I'm not the most tech savvy person sometimes too. I have to ask Heather for help, and she kind of thinks it's funny. She can tell her son, like, I helped a millennial or someone younger than me. So we definitely understand and are definitely willing to help because, technology can not always be fun. So yeah, the first step is signing up for your consultation with the dates that we have. So we have set aside a couple dates for those already on our calendar, but if we need to work around people's schedule, we're definitely willing to do that because we want you all to be there to really hear from the experts, Mark and Heather, about the health of your tree. So after you sign up for your Sign Up Genius for your meeting, Cameron will be sending reminders about your upcoming event when Heather, myself, and okay, great. William, great. We're glad you can see it. Yeah. So that'll be great as well for you all to attend and to learn about the health of your tree from our experts. That's also when we're going to want to see proof of income. So this will be very brief. We'll just ask to see W-2s or some kind of statement to make sure that you meet our qualifications for the annual median income. You don't have to turn anything in. Myself or Cameron just kind of need to verify that you meet the requirements. Definitely feel free to black out, pertinent information, things, that are sensitive, like, social security number or anything like that. All we really need to see is your name, your household's information, and then the annual median income, or the income for the household. But we'll talk more about that as well. And definitely feel free to ask questions when applicable. So if you have a question, Mark and Heather are definitely there to talk more about that. Cameron, do you want to talk a little bit more about the proof of income part?
I actually gonna turn it over to Kristen to see if she wanted anything to say. But sort of like what Joyce said, it isn't it's really just for verification. We do understand a little bit of hesitancy. It's not to be invasive or anything like that. We just want to make sure it's a quick piece of verification. We're not keeping any documents. We're not doing anything extensive like that. So if you have any other questions, like Joyce said, please reach out to us and ask us about that process as well. But we're trying to make sure that it is as least invasive as possible, and that we, like I said, just take the proof of it, and keep it going to the next step. Yeah, ask questions, but askable. Yeah, the arborist recommendation. So yeah, what we do, like I said, Mark just gave a great spiel on his expertise. So Mark, again, thank you for being so knowledgeable. Heather as well, extremely knowledgeable. She works here for for the team. So with that being said, we want to preserve the trees. When applicable, we are focusing on hazardous limb and tree removal. So it will be a few situations where we may see a few trees. Mark and Heather's job is to give us the best recommendation with their expertise. So we can't just cut every tree willy-nilly. They're going to give us what's going to be in the best condition and in the best health for the tree. I don't know if you guys want to speak about it anymore.
I'll just say, so our after we look at the trees and, I'll make some recommendations on those trees. We also have people that come in and do that work with us and do the pruning and the removals. and safety is our priority. And we want to make sure that not only the tree's safe for you when we leave it, but we're safe during all work activities, and everything is done in a neat and orderly fashion. And if you have items that are underneath the tree, when we come do the work, might want to have those moved or slid out of the way. We know small stuff we can move, but if it's cars or things like that, probably shouldn't be parked in the tree. But we try to look at every opportunity to keep the tree before we look at it being a removal. It has to basically be, the risk has to be greater than the reward for us to try to do the removal. So, and if that's the case on your property, we'll certainly look at it, point out what the issue is, and explain the dangers involved and risks and what's going on with the tree. So, like I said, I want to, my goal of this is to have everybody understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and you know, kind of appreciate the trees in the neighborhood. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, and I'll just add one piece. That last sentence. The homeowner is under no obligation to work with us on their project if the recommendation does not meet their expectations. So, you know, we completely understand if you know, based on the recommendations that Mark provides, if you don't agree with that, you know, you do not have to work with us. We want to work with you. You know, that's why we're in the neighborhood, and you know, we want this commitment to the homeowners and residents of McCrory Heights and Ramblewood. But we also have, you know, we want to also honor the trees and do right by the trees. And you know, Heather and Mark are the experts, and you know, they can help us figure out what issues the trees are having, and we can kind of help with that. But you know, we want to make sure that, you know, we're being mindful and thoughtful. Definitely feel free to raise your concerns to Mark and Heather, you know, because it's a conversation and we want to engage with you on that. I just wanted to really just remind people that we're focusing on hazardous limb and tree removal as our primary objective. Okay, so our calendar, kind of for our next steps. So as we discussed, you will be getting a consultation. You will be scheduling consultation with our arborist. Cameron will be sending that out within the next couple of days with the Sign Up Genius, and contacting people who maybe, you know, would like additional assistance instead of using the Sign Up Genius. After that, we'll have our consultation with you all, and then Cameron is going to actually send the scope of work to you. So it'll be very specific about, you know, what Mark's recommendations are based on various tree species. You know, he may say, you know, what are the terms? Oh, sorry, I can't think of it right now. But clean pruning or crown pruning or crown clearing and things like that. Mark is better with the language, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah, that's crown cleaning. Crown cleaning. You get it.
Okay. I was so close to that one. Yeah. So he'll give us more specifics. If you have questions about that, definitely feel free to call myself or Cameron. But that's why it's so important to be there at the consultation, because you can kind of hear that as it's happening, as he's thinking about it, so that it's not new to you. Like, what? You're not cutting down my tree? Well, you know, part of, you know, that conversation with the consultation, we'll go over that. Did you want to add anything, Mark?
No, I just think, you know, the education is a huge component of this. I think not only, I mean, it's not about getting your trees taken care of and having healthier trees in your yard, but it's also the education component of it to understand and appreciate what you have and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and you know, hopefully spread some of that knowledge to the community.
Yeah, definitely. So Mark will, or excuse me, Cameron will send the scope of work. We'll ask that you sign kind of a liability waiver, and just kind of, it's kind of like a contract, not really, but kind of, just so everyone is clear and understands exactly what work is going to be done. So it will say what species it is, where the tree is located if work is being done, just so we're all on the same page. So that will be mailed to you, probably either email or hard copy. You know, it can be either or. The faster we get your paperwork turned in, the faster we can actually get the work done. So that really does help us to get everything done. Then we'll start scheduling the appointments and preparing the site for work. So after you have returned your signed paperwork, I definitely would, if I were you, maybe start preparing the site for the work, because the turnover can be really fast, and we'll talk about that in our next slide. So you'll receive a checklist in preparation. It may tell exactly, you know, what tree is going to be moved. It'll have review the scope of work. You may need to clear the work area of vehicles or certain debris or certain items that you don't want, that need to be moved in order for Mark and his team to get into the tree and provide whatever services necessary. As a reminder, the turnover may be fast, so we definitely want you to start getting ready once you turn in your contract. So Mark is going to be doing us a really great favor. He's working us in their schedule. So, you know, he may call me or Cameron and say, hey, can I go to this house tomorrow or in 2 days? And that means, you know, everything needs to be ready, you know, so that we're mindful of his time, because, you know, Tree Charlotte is paying for the work at a discounted rate, and Mark is really helping us out. But, you know, we'll be in contact with you. If we need to, you know, move things around, we definitely can. There may be instances where we have to have you contact Duke Energy to drop the line, meaning that your electricity will be turned off. But that conversation, we'll talk about that during the consultation. So it won't be a surprise. We'll tell you like, hey, this may be necessary in order for Mark and his team to be able to do the job safely. So we want to be mindful of their safety as well. That may be a good day to maybe, you know, be out of the house if it's going to be hot. But we're having nice weather, and we're hoping to really start getting this work done in April. So that should be really good. Tree Charlotte will contact 811 and Mark Utilities if a tree replacement is needed. But just as a reminder, that replacement is not going to happen until the fall, just because of the tree planting season is from October to March. And by the time we actually start doing the work, it's not ideal to plant trees. So that won't be happening. The tree replacement, if that's needed, will not happen until probably October or November for you all. But we'll be in contact. Don't worry, you'll hear from me and Cameron a lot. Tree replacement. I've kind of already hinted on this a little bit. It would happen during our neighborhood tree day, similar to what we did this year with Ramblewood. McCrory Heights didn't need any trees removed our last mature canopy care go around. All the trees in y'all's neighborhood were actually really healthy. We just did minimal limb reduction and things like that. So great job of already taking care of your trees, and we're excited to continue to go there. We had a couple trees removed, I think 3 trees removed in Ramblewood. But, you know, overall for us to have served 11 to 13 residences, I mean, I think that speaks volumes to that y'all were already doing a great job. As we recommended, our arborist will be consulting with you with Right Tree, Right Place and creating a planting plan. But you'll hear more about this a little bit later if it comes to that. You'll choose between several tree species, including small, medium, large, maturing, and evergreens. So this is an example on the right, some of the trees that we had residents adopt and or that were planted in their yard. So we had some really pretty flowering trees. We had some really great large and medium maturing trees. We also had some fruit bearing trees, which Heather could probably talk more about, which, you know, one of y'all's neighbor had, I think maybe 3. So just really excited to give people an opportunity as well to have some edible trees that are edible trees that bear fruit, I'll say that, to put in their yard that are native or naturalized to Charlotte. Heather, did you have anything you wanted to talk about with our tree replacement? You're muted.
Sorry. No, we will, these are the trees that you see on the right were ones that we had available from the last go round, and the ones that we have next fall may not be exactly the same species. We give away over 80 different species, I believe, at Tree Charlotte. And so each adoption we do will be a little bit different. We'll get a different selection from our growers, and our growers they're all in the state of North Carolina, pretty local to us. So we buy our trees, and we're not quite sure at this time what we will have available then, but we will always have a really nice selection of, some large maturing trees that provide great shade, medium and small, as Joy mentioned. And a lot of the small ones are often super beautiful and lots of flowers. So, but I can help you make that selection. And once we know what those species will be, we'll create some kind of nice flyer just like this with what you have to choose from. But that's the fun part.
I know, right? Picking the trees and Heather making the planting plan. Did anyone have any questions about our tree plantings? Just kind of in general. It doesn't have to be with the tree replacement. Just as a reminder, that is also a service that we do provide at Tree Charlotte with McCrory Heights and Ramblewood, which is actually unique. Tree Charlotte does not generally plant in front yards of private property. So you are kind of getting special treatment, the red carpet treatment, and we're really excited to continue to work with you. All right, I think I'm kind of done. So as mentioned, Cameron will be in contact with you with next steps. Some of our consultations start as early as, I want to say next week. Is that correct, Cameron? Is it next week? Yeah, so next week. I think it's next Monday, next Tuesday, and then that Monday after that. What is that? The 8th. So it's the 18th, 19th, and the 25th are the consultations we have on our calendar. Currently, we just have a hold. As people start signing up, we'll start allocating spots just to make sure that everyone has time to really kind of meet with us. But super exciting to me. I actually like this more than now that I don't like all the other stuff, but I do, but I didn't realize that I liked science kind of, and I still am on the fence, but I think it was Mark and Heather do a great job of really making it entertaining, and you get to learn a lot of cool stuff. So I guess I'm a bit of a nerd at heart, and I really just like learning about so much stuff I had no idea about. So excited that y'all will be joining us to learn more about the health of your trees and just more about the trees in your neighborhood as well.
Joy, are we going to get the sign-up sheets in our email? Is that what I heard you say? The sign-up information?
Yes, that's going to
Okay.
come in your email. Yeah, Cameron's going to send that probably tomorrow or Wednesday. He's going to send that to you all, just so you all can see and pick what time works best for you. We'll probably do similar to what we did last time. We'll hope to have McCrory Heights on a certain day, Ramblewood on a certain day, just so we're in the neighborhood at the same time and not going back and forth, back and forth. Uh-oh, we have one person join us. Okay. So just wanted to kind of add briefly, thanks to our donors and volunteers. So we've had a great time in both neighborhoods, Ramblewood and McCrory Heights. And we couldn't do this without you all volunteering to join us. So we do appreciate you taking the time to be on this call with us, but just in general, to learn more about Treesilience, expanding and preserving the trees in both of those neighborhoods. And as Cameron mentioned earlier, we could not do this either without the generosity of our corporate sponsors, which we have listed below. And Arbor Guard, which Mark is an employee of, is one of our corporate sponsors. So we do appreciate, not only his expertise, but also the financial support of his organization as well. Are there any other questions? Embrace my tree nerd, my inner tree nerd. Yeah, who would have thought? Science, not my favorite. Definitely not. Cameron, were you able to put the info in the chat with the state of the canopy?
I actually could not locate it, Joy. If you don't mind looking for it.
Yeah,
Like, just let me know.
I can find it real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Kristen. Or Riley.
Hi,
Hi,
we're on mute because one of my coworkers here is very chatty.
That's okay. We get it. No, we appreciate you joining us. So this is Kristen Riley, our director of programs.
Hi, everyone.
Really helps us get all this work done that we're doing. So really grateful for her to join us today.
So it is just on the Treesilience page on our website. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's links. It's the state of your canopy booklets, and there's links for Ramblewood and a link for McCrory Heights. So you're just going to click on those links and that'll bring you to the PDF for each.
Is it showing on my screen?
I put it in the chat. I didn't know it's not showing on your screen, but I put the link in the chat.
Thank you.
No problem.
No, that was super helpful. I'm still trying to learn Zoom. I was like, when I'm pausing, is it pausing my view? I'm thinking of when I used to teach, I used to press pause sometimes when I'd be doing other stuff, but I got to play with that a little bit more. But yeah, if you scroll all the way to the bottom right before questions, you can click on the state of the canopy. Some of the data that we talked about with the tree mapping, I think that was really great. I think sometimes we overlook the positive benefits of trees. I know in my neighborhood, we're looking to add more trees. And this was something I didn't actually tell them. They thought of it themselves after hearing me talk about trees so much. So they want Tree Charlotte to come back and add more trees because of the stormwater runoff issues that we're having in our neighborhood. So just excited that as we continue to talk to people, they're getting excited and they're thinking, I'm having this issue. Trees can solve it. So yes. Heather, I wasn't sure if you wanted to add something. You were unmuted.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, just happy to help you pick whatever trees you like. So not only do we offer a variety of selections, but we'll come out there and walk around your yard, and you can tell us exactly, where you would like to put a tree. We can do that for you.
Yeah, great. So we appreciate y'all. I'm not gonna hold you. Give me three minutes of time back. So you'll hear from Cameron in the next couple of days about the Sign Up Genius. If you're having any issues, we'll be reaching out to people with, their issues with technology, because we want to make sure we sign up everybody so that you can meet with Heather and Mark to learn about the health of your trees. And we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.